So today we are creating a makeup look for Garba night. Now, if you want your makeup to last through all that dancing and celebration, my loves, you need to keep the base pretty matte. Don't go with a dewy base. So I have already prepped my skin and I'm starting with an oil controlling primer from Maybelline. I did not really plan for this video initially, but one of you guys asked me to create a look for Garba night, so here I am. I myself have never been to a Garba night, but one thing that I can understand pretty well is this, that you don't want your makeup to melt when you are dancing your heart out. So to avoid that mishap, we are going to keep the base very minimal, avoid any unnecessary step. I'm not really using any foundation today. Instead, I'm using a concealer that is a very close match to my skin tone. The one that I'm using today is from Elegirl in the shade Fawn. It has an orange tinge to it, so it is going to act as a concealer cum color corrector for me. But in case if you have a lot of hyperpigmentation, mix a little bit of orange corrector to your concealer and then use it. In case you're not satisfied and you want to use a foundation, go with a very light layer or maybe use a skin tint instead. I have used the concealer on very specific areas, that is around my mouth and underneath my eyes, and whatever that is left on my brush, I'm using it on my forehead. Also, I've done some spot concealing. To add some flush of color to my face, I'm using this very pretty peach colored blush from K-Beauty in the shade Rustic Rush. This blush gives you a pretty matte finish, pretty appropriate for the kind of finish we want to achieve. Once I'm done with my blush application, I've taken the same concealer brush and I'm using it to soften and blend the edges where my blush meet the concealer so that it looks more seamless. And at last, we're going to lock our base with some loose setting powder. Do not skip this step. No matter what skin type you have, your loose setting powder keep your base in place intact for a good period of time. Also, it literally blurs the pores on your skin. So if you have very textury skin like me, you're going to love this. Next, I'm filling in the sparse areas in my brows with a micro brow pencil from NYX. It has a pretty fine tip, so it really helps you to mimic those hair-like strands and gives you a pretty natural finish. For the eye look, we are keeping it pretty simple. We are going with the classic kohl eyes that are super easy to create and will go with pretty much any outfit that you're wearing. So I have roughly lined my upper eyelid with a black kohl and I'm smudging it with a pencil brush. Now I realized that after shooting that I smudged it way too much. You keep it a little darker. After blending, I've set it with some black eyeshadow. Next, I'm taking a dark brown shade from Mars Jashn Shringar palette in the shade Mehndi. I'm blending the edges of the kohl that we used earlier with this dark brown eyeshadow. Also, if you have hooded eyes like me, a tip for you, keep your kohl below your natural crease, but take the brown eyeshadow above your natural crease. Next, I'm using this light brown shade from the same eyeshadow palette. This is going to bring our whole eye look together. So I'm blending it with the brown eyeshadow that we used earlier. Also guys, I've used the same dark brown eyeshadow on my lower lash line as well, but I have somehow lost the clip. Also, I've tightlined my lower and upper waterline with some black kohl, adding some inner corner highlight with a teeny tiny brush. To finish with the eye makeup, I'm using a waterproof mascara from Swiss Beauty. To feather out my mascara, I like to use an old mascara wand. I just like to run it over my lashes once I'm done with my mascara. This really helps you to get rid of any clumpy lashes. For lipstick, I'm using one of my favorite Revlon super lustrous lipstick in the shade Rumberry. As you could see, this is a deep brown lipstick with purple undertone to it, and it just looks super flattering on my deep brown skin. I think blush is the first thing that fades away from our makeup, so don't forget to top up your creme blush with a powder blush. I'm using this very pretty powder blush from Sugar in the shade Salmon Superstar. It has a peachy color to it. And to set my base, I'm using Maybelline setting spray in the matte variant. And now comes the heart and soul of this look, our favorite bindi. I've added 4 more tiny bindis around our main bindi. This is how our finished look has turned out. Also, if you don't have a neck piece, you can create these bindi designs on your neck. Do let me know how did you like this look. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Till then, bye.